Without hesitation, today marks off single-handedly the most manipulated day over the last 27 days of price action. Performing this forward test is releasing tons of data that can be crucial for retail traders in the future. Price action appeared to be forced into an overall invalidation zone. Welcome back to the channel on this happy Monday. This is ARCa, and let's dive into ticker symbol FNGR. What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. Let's go ahead and dive into ticker symbol FNGR, and you are observing this here in the 15-minute time frame, and this is the long-standing back test that a forward test actually that we've done of manipulation in the chart, right? So we started this on October 13th, today being the 20th of November, and we are still looking at heavier and heavier manipulation days, and today marks off very, very cleanly the heaviest manipulation day that we have experienced in quite some time, and this marks off a total I believe it was 11 total iterations today, right? So some of these are very grouped together because they were manipulating here starting from even, let me see, the 30-minute time frame it looks like. No, actually starting from the 15-minute time frame with 3 strikes of manipulation here. It's almost like it almost feels like stealing in broad daylight, right? So it's I mean, the conditions were met for every single strike here, and they were met for every single strike in several different time frames here, including the larger time frames too, which is not often seen. All right, so now let's go ahead and move on to the next chart here, because there could be a continuation to the downside, and one thing that can be given to us is this signal here as a potential, I guess we can call it a hint, or maybe a warning, right? Because we talked about this just yesterday. The last signal that we got down here with that upside felt a little weird, because usually following a strike of manipulation, we tend to get that upside, and then price action tends to capitulate afterward, right? So I am not certain as to the direction bias of the asset, but we can speculate and we can look at the data starting from the next chart right now. Okay, team. So first of all, I want you to notice here that this is the falling wedge that we noticed we were riding just on, I believe on Friday is when we noticed this wedge here, right? So it is very curious that we actually failed the conversion of resistance into support and fell all the way back down to its initial support. Another curious thing is, please remember that we were actually looking at the other triangle right back here. Right, so this other triangle was the one that we were speculating riding, and it looks like we adjusted that that triangle into another one, right? So what I want to show here is this. So you know that the first area of take profit for these triangle formation strategies is actually the first candle to break down or up from the point of support or resistance, right? So this is the breakdown here, and this is the first 6-hour candle that we got without exposure to the inside of the formation, right? So let's go ahead and take into consideration here trend line from the top side of the triangle to all the way to the bottom side here, and then we apply it to that breakout, and then that'll give us a price objective, being the price objective number 1. All right, so let's go ahead and do that now. We apply it right down there, and look at that. It is giving us a target of 401, and price action came down to a $4 value. So it is very curious that it is directly correlated with the bottom side target here, and it being the regression bottom of the adjusted triangle. Okay, so I'm not saying that this is in fact the bottom here, because there could be a continuation to the downside. Even still, it is just curious to me that the first target met perfectly at the bottom side of the adjusted triangle. Remember that we have 2 other targets to look at just in case, right? So let's go ahead and take into consideration the center of the triangle, which could arguably be about here, and then that will display to us another target towards the downside. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen. I'm just saying that because we're getting this breakdown, it could be of higher probability, right? So now the further target would be $3.59. And then, of course, we have one more massive target to keep into deep consideration here, which would actually be the very back side of the triangle, and that would mark off the largest psychological price objective that the formation would have to offer, right? So then we would adjust this here. We put it there, and that is suggesting a bottom side of about 309. Okay, now let's go ahead and continue the analysis here because there could be other things that we can utilize here to our benefit. First of all, please notice down here that our reversal, my goodness, can't say it. The reversal signal that we got here was in fact invalidated and it definitely did not work for that upside. And it looks like the manipulation signals in the earlier time frames at the tail end of the after hours of the post-market trading did indicate, in fact, that downside that we were potentially warning of before we talked about the potential upsides based on the new formation, right? So I will have to be completely transparent here with you, and it is critical that you hear me out here and that you absolutely know the risks at hand. Okay, so this right here is a tweezer bottom, which suggested a continuation to the upside. So there is a chance here that we can face a bottom side all the way down here, but that I must warn you, this bottom side here is the overall end-all be-all price action support line there. That is the official invalidation zone for this formation, for this upside here. Breaking beneath these two candles here will have implications further to the downside of greater value. Okay, so now we're going to take a range from this bottom side wick to the bottom side of these tweezer bottoms, and that is going to give us the targets for a potential massive bounce or a massive failure, of which we are unable to tell what we're going to do here, team. So 396 to 385 is a critical invalidation zone and the biggest demand area that this range high to range low has to offer, right, team? So please know that I am putting out the biggest warning in the world right now that if price action does start to get a daily closure beneath the area of 385, we can absolutely start seeing targets of down to around 356 to around 342 and lower. This would be a potential area to bounce back to the zone of about 385 to 396 for a resistance validation before a continuation to the downside, of which then we could actually start seeing 298 and sub $3 way down there. Okay, team, I need you to be very aware over the risks at hand right now because we're at a massive invalidation zone here that can present a huge bounce to the upside like it has before, or it can actually fail. Okay, so we've been here before. We've already talked about these times where we were there, and then I just had to present the bear thesis here just in case, right? And it just bounced to the upside. So we were very lucky those times. Okay, so now there is one more area that could serve as like a hopium bounce of sorts, right? But you guys know that I don't like hopium whatsoever, and it would be the bottom side of this gap right here, which would be the high of 377. So if there is a shot at anything, there also could be a potential wick down to the 377 bottom to face that bounce from this gap here and then face an upside. No guarantees whatsoever. There's no way I can guarantee that anything will happen in the market here. What I can guarantee is that what will happen, right? So please keep an eye over these targets here, but you know that these are invalidation zones and they are very critical. Okay, so let's go ahead and just paste a target here of 377. We have a target of, let's see, that was 396 at this top side, and the bottom side target was that 385. Okay, so now you have the targets. Now you know what can happen there if we do fail it. Okay, team. So now let's go ahead and just move on to the next set of data here, right? So you can see that we've been printing back-to-back formations here. This is a bearish engulfing, right? Printed on the 12-hour time frame, highly credible, followed by another iteration of a bearish engulfing right over here, right? Forward candle engulfing the prior green candle entirely, right? Do not worry about the wicks. Do not worry about the bottom wicks or the prior wicks. Worry about the body of the two candles, right? Forward red engulfing the prior green. And then the inverse of that, of course, is the bullish engulfing, right? So which would be quite the opposite. It would be red and then green on the front. And now, of course, we are facing yet again another print of a bearish engulfing candle, and that would be this green candle getting engulfed by this large red one here, and this is the reaction candle right now. And we are printing a spinning top doji, or an indecision candle, right? I would like the body to be a little bit smaller here, but yes, it is essentially an indecision candle, and it is suggesting no direction bias right now, since we are at a critical support and approaching a demand zone or an invalidation zone. What I can say here, team, is that breaking below the weekly time frame SMA 200 and EMA 55 is definitely no good, and that could present some serious danger to price action. Okay, so as you know, in the prior times where we did bounce from this area of 386, we did fall beneath the the SMA 200 both times actually, right? But we absolutely had the EMA 21 above us and EMA 55. We had a silver cross happening at that time. So in this case, we're failing all three of those moving averages. So I just want to point that out. I just want to be immaculately clear here that there could be further downside. Okay, team, I need you to be careful. If we do face that initial, that capitulation from the area of 385, then your Gaussian band on a 5-day time frame can display to you one of the first areas to bounce off of, and that could be the area of about $3.20 at the mean band. Okay, team, so please be very careful here, as we are using many time frames as validators or guides towards the downside, particularly here on the SMA 10 as well. Even though we do have drive of bullish divergence here in the 30-minute time frame, there could still be a continuation to the downside even still. Now, one critical thing that could serve as a potential hopium is, in fact, that the hourly candle here at the tail end of the trading day after hours closed inside of the regression band. So this is the linear regression bands here, and it looks like we could be set to make a move to the upside here to around $4.27. But please remember that this is actually just one strategy suggesting an upside continuation, and it often works out pretty good. Okay, so, and then also we are getting some bull signals in the immediate short-term time frame based on some of the ARQ indicator signals, right? So please remember, team, to get yourself enrolled in the ARC Masters trading course, as I will pretty much, I don't know if I want to continue after this, team. I said this already in the first 1 and 2. I got some really disturbing emails of some friends and also some incredible people here in the community facing some losses that I really didn't like. In spite of that, I reopened the ARC Masters course, a 16-week mentorship. So go ahead and get in touch with me. I'll go ahead and pass you on the syllabus, the disclaimer, and all that good stuff. The track 3 students already got started. We're talking about reaching every single topic here from the very beginning. I'm talking about what is even a candle in the first place, all the way up to advanced topics and mathematical application. You will have your strategy found, right, team? So if any questions at all, go ahead and get in touch with me. But that is it for the video here, team. Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Never, 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 never. I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very, very good rest of your night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios, team.